Michael Jackson had the world completely fooled. He built an outer image of a shy, soft-spoken, innocent pop star. But behind that smiling mask was a dark alter ego. Deep down, Michael was a relentless, unforgiving businessman who would sacrifice almost anyone to get what he wanted. He would fire you on the spot without a second thought. Here is the unbelievable list of family, friends, and executives that Michael Jackson got fed up with and erased from his empire. But you will want to watch this one until the very end, because out of all the people Michael ruthlessly fired, there was one executive he desperately had to rehire just days before he died, and one final, shocking phone call he tried to make to the very man he spent his life running from. Michael's first massive strike happened right at home. When he moved to New York in 1977 to film The Wiz, he finally tasted real solo success. He realized he didn't need his father's iron grip anymore. He was a grown man, and he wanted absolute freedom. So, in March 1983, Michael made his first ruthless business move. He fired his own father as his manager.
Here's your first job. I need you to fire Joseph.
Joe Jackson, the man who built him, was out. Michael quickly replaced his father's old-school style with a sharp, heavy-hitting music executive named Frank DeLeo.
You've got the job that most people would envy that job, Frank.
It's a great job. It's really a terrific job, Terry. Michael is a wonderful human being to be working with.
Michael was officially building his own empire, his own way. When Michael moved to New York, he didn't just find freedom. He met a legendary producer named Quincy Jones. It was a match made in heaven. Quincy was the musical genius who steered Michael through the greatest era of his life, producing the massive, record-breaking albums Thriller and Bad. But by 1989, a massive creative difference tore them apart. Michael wanted to pursue a sharper, modern, aggressive street sound. Quincy disagreed. He wanted Michael to slow down and stick to the classic formula that made them rich. For Michael, holding him back was an unforgivable sin. Without a second thought, he dropped the greatest producer in the world. When Michael released his next album, Dangerous, in 1991, Quincy Jones was completely out of the game. But the most calculated firings of his entire life happened right behind closed doors. By the late 1980s, Michael's ambitions had grown so massive that he was willing to cut anyone who couldn't keep up. The first to go was his manager, Frank DeLeo. Frank had been steering Michael's career since 1984, securing his massive Pepsi deals and guiding him through the bad era. But behind the scenes, tension was boiling. Michael is secretly furious that the Bad album didn't hit his personal goal of selling 100 million copies to beat Thriller. Even worse, Michael wanted to quit touring and become a major Hollywood movie star. His advisors convinced him that Frank was a great music guy, but he lacked the heavy Hollywood connections needed to get Michael onto the big screen. Combined with Michael's growing, deep-seated distrust of the music industry's accounting, the decision was made. On February 14, 1989, Michael completely cut his right-hand man loose, though his PR team covered it up as an amicable parting. The very next year, Michael aimed his sights at his powerhouse attorney, John Branca. Branca was the legal genius who orchestrated the massive $47.5 million purchase of the Beatles' music catalog.
Then one day I got the call that the Beatles catalog was for sale. It was called ATV Music, and it was as if we had hit the mother lode.
And you paid?
The price was $47.5 million, and we later merged it with Sony's music publishing company to create one of the biggest publishers in the world, Sony ATV Music, that the estate to this day owns 50% of.
And so how much is that worth?
But because the deal was so monumental, Branca made a fatal mistake. He asked for a 5% equity stake in the catalog as his payment. To a deeply suspicious Michael, asking for an ownership piece of his most prized asset felt like a massive overreach. Behind the scenes, Michael was secretly meeting with entertainment mogul David Geffen, who was acting as his deeply trusted advisor. Geffen whispered in Michael's ear, explicitly warning him that Branca had amassed far too much leverage over his career and his estate. To make matters worse, Michael feared Branca was getting way too close to the top executives at CBS Records and Sony. Michael was constantly going to war with the label for higher royalty rates, and he demanded an attorney loyal strictly to him.
This is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. And like Mrs. Sharpton was saying, you're some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. And it's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Sony, Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish.
The decision was final. In 1990, Michael completely cut ties with his top lawyer. According to Branca himself, Michael tearfully dismissed him, coldly stating he simply wanted to try different representation. The message was clear: no one touches the King's catalog. Michael spent his entire career systematically removing anyone who tried to control him. He wiped out the exact dream team that built his biggest years to prove that no one was safe.
He let everybody go from his team. There was no manager, no agent, no press agent. It was Michael, and he would give me business directives and, of course, the label promotion directives.
He fired everybody?
Everybody.
Why?
He just felt he wanted to sort of run this business himself, you know, with the help of myself and a couple of others. And I'll never forget, I got a call from Quincy Jones.
But in his final days, the isolation became terrifying. Facing immense pressure from his This Is It comeback tour, Michael did the unthinkable. On June 17, 2009, just 8 days before his death, he officially rehired John Branca, the exact lawyer he had fired years earlier. Even more shockingly, according to his former bodyguard, a desperate Michael reached out to his father, Joe Jackson, begging for his help to handle his promoters.
It's so bad. I don't know what to do. I need to get hold of Joseph. Do you know where Joseph is? I've not got my numbers. He managed to get my number for another bodyguard who they kept on, who had some numbers, who we were associated to. He said, and he'd normally call us to get numbers anyway. He couldn't call his normal people because they were blocked out. His normal assistants are gone. AEG took on their own staff, their own bodyguards. So he said, do you know where Joseph is? I do. Do you have his number? I said, I do have his number. Here it is. I told him his number. And I thought to myself, he's asking for Joe. This is strange. I said, Mike, is everything okay? He goes, no. I need Joseph to come and sort this shit out. That's the exact words he said. He said, it's a shit show. They're threatening me. They're making me rehearse songs and dances that I developed over 30 years ago. I can't go on like this. And they are controlling me.
In the end, the ultimate boss realized that building an empire of isolation had a fatal flaw. When the pressure